Welcome to Unique Prepping, and my name is Zachary Smouse. Unique Prepping is about preparing for the future in unique ways. No matter what limitations we have, we can always make the most out of what we have around us, and that's how we are going to succeed. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That Bible verse is why I have faith that no matter how difficult the future is, no matter what life you come from, or what the future holds, we as a society will succeed and make the future prosperous. Welcome to my channel, and let's prepare for a bright, exciting future together.
What's up, Zach Attack?
I love that intro.
Man, I'm sitting over here. Ain't no one like me. And I'm like, really, there isn't nobody like me. There ain't nobody like you or him or her. We're all unique. What we starting off with there, Zach Attack. And hello, everybody.
Good evening, our wonderful communities, and welcome to a new series that I wanted to introduce this year, to where we can get panel discussions going with some of our community members and talk about prepping for the future and the expectations we have for our future generations to come. I'm one of your hosts, Unique Prepping, and with me are my co-hosts and our community members Ghetto, Life Done Free, and Nadia Knows. Down in the description below, we have provided the links for the participants here tonight. Please go subscribe to them and help build onto this beautiful community. Before we get started, how are you guys doing this evening?
Ladies first.
I'm doing great. It's my first time on Unique Prepping, so I'm super excited. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I hope to learn a lot, and I'm looking forward to our conversation. I got my notepad. I'm ready to go. I got all my tools.
I'm the only one without a notepad, because I know Tag's got a notepad right next to him.
Yeah, I got my Bible. I got 2 notebooks and my Bible and a dictionary right next to me.
Age before beauty?
Age before beauty. Yeah, life's good. I'm sitting here in a snowstorm in minus 5-degree weather, doing it live with Unique Prepping, Ghetto, and Nadia. Life's grand.
Nice. Yeah, we're going through it too, man. We got about 2 inches of ice out there. It was 16 degrees yesterday and pouring down rain. So it's one of them that's hitting all of us. I'm doing good, Zach Attack. I'm here rolling with you, man. We're on 3 different channels. Miss Ghetto just put, well, she didn't do it the right way, but anyways, anybody listening over on my channel, come over to Zach's. You guys know how I do it. When I do these types of things, it's all focused on Zach, and or go over to Tags and watch it from there. I'm not monetized, not even trying to get monetized, so I'm not worried about the views. I do want to get him those watch hours, though, please. That's his last thing, and I'll do one little promotion. Zach needs the watch hours, y'all. He's already got all the requirements other than the watch hours. Let's make this young man some money. All right. But either way, I'm doing good, Zach. I'm doing good. How you doing, brother?
That's good, and I'm doing good as well. I just want to take this time to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to actually get together and share our ideas and thoughts about the future. Honestly, in my heart, this is a direction that I wish most of the society would take, because keeping us divided and separated from each other is what, I believe, is making this nation have a downfall to where I don't like where it's headed. That's why I'm so vocal about unifying our nation, and our world honestly, because the ones that are technically leading the countries don't want us to. That's what I believe makes them scared, and I don't care anymore. I want us to grow, learn, build as a society to where we are in this together. Also, for the people watching, please be patient with us as we're streaming to 3 different YouTube channels. However, we want to thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate each and every one of you. This evening we will be
what?
answering questions that I have typed out on banners, and for the chat, if you have any questions or are curious about something, please feel free to ask. We are all in this together, so any subject or topic you want us to answer is much appreciated. Anyway, does the panel have any additional messages that you want to add before we get started?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Let's get the feds onto us tonight, guys. Let's go. They're going to realize we know their plan.
Yeah, so I'm along for the ride. This is my first stream with Zach and you guys attacking Ghetto. So guide me, because I don't know where you want to take it. So
Everything's pretty much open. There are going to be keywords that all of us got to kind of have a little thought behind. Other than that, it's kind of wherever it goes, it goes. I think having such a diverse crowd up here, diverse panel, because we all have a diverse community, right? I think it's important that we all see from each other's perspectives and maybe add a little bit to each other's thoughts on what's coming, what's going on right now, what we should do to prevent it. And ultimately, and this is something that I learned from Tag, and I very much appreciate him and his wife for it, the solution for it. I'm a very black-pilled person. I think most know that. But coming into certain communities like Tag and them's, Grumpy and them's, I find hope, because there's other people out there that are like, yeah, we can fight against it. There's a white pill to everything, right? I mean, even look at Revelations. I mean, the greatest white pill of all is God coming to get us. But there's going to be a lot of hurt in the meantime. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to learning some stuff from different people, and I got hope for all of us, to be honest, and not just on the United States. I'm not talking about just America either, because the world is behind this. I mean, it's not just us. We can't be so egotistical to think that it's just our country that's suffering.
No, I'd actually argue that most places around the world are suffering worse than we are right now.
Yes, agreed.
Agreed. It's hidden behind the media, and it's hidden behind these things because they obviously don't want you to know it.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, 31 or 32% of the world today is on no travel advisories because it isn't safe. I mean, so, there's wars raging everywhere. There's all kinds of that stuff. And I think what Zach said earlier was right too. There's so much more that connects us than what divides us. If we can just stand up and be big people and, quit being offended by everything.
Right. That's a huge thing right there, man. The offending. I was just talking to my wife earlier about this when it comes to the internet, right? I do believe the internet, let me say social media is a huge weapon against us, right? Because we can have a conversation in chat, but there's no tone. There's no personality behind it. It's just words. So whatever mood you're feeling at that particular time reading that's how you're going to take it. So if you're mad because you just stubbed your toe and you're getting a message from chat, you're going to be pissed off at that. All of a sudden, boom, you're not talking to that person no more because you took something completely out of context. You took the meaning from it.
Have you ever seen that? There's a skit about that exact scenario, Key and Peele, where his buddy sends him a text message. Have you seen it before? It's
and the one to go to
hilarious.
the bar. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
But I
But
think
it's so true. It's so true what you
designed that
say.
way. Yeah, it's really designed that way. First and foremost, Zach hasn't asked because he always sounds handsome and all that. Are we 5x5, everybody? I mean, is it coming in at 5x5? I'm sure the wifey would have said, but
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. And I believe so. Zach, I'm able to see all channels chat in here, right? Okay, I'm a newbie. All right.
You were not a newbie.
Well, to this particular stuff, man, it's all right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Pure Blood, and hello, everybody. I guess that's part of our job too. Let everybody know what's up. Hello. Start us off with a question too, Zach. You got something already? I imagine you got it all planned out, right? All right.
Pardon me for 2 seconds. I just have to fix something on my computer.
You're good.
But please go on. I'm listening. All right, 5 seconds.
I love seeing so many different people in chat.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's the strength, Ghetto. The fact of the matter is, all kinds of people I can see in the chat right now on my side that I've disagreed with in the past. But you know what we agree on? It's just like you and I are talking about. You and I have disagreed on things. But at the end of the day, it's the 80% that we all agree on everything, and they want us divided. And if we can stop that and understand that we're just all humans, we're all flawed, and it's cool, man, we can conquer the world. I promise you.
Yeah, most definitely. I think we can conquer it, and more importantly, take it over in the sense to where we can actually share it, because we're not sharing it right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, at all, we're not. You know what I mean? We have a certain thought when it comes to a person living in a tent on the sidewalk in the middle of the city, and we wouldn't even give him the time of day if he said, "Hey, can I take a little piece of your land and just put my tent up? I'll even work. I'll do whatever." We won't even give him the option to do that because we've already X'd them out of our mind, because we've been programmed to be like, "No, you're done." Not all of them are drug addicts, and not all of them are vets. Not all. I mean, people are just people at the end of the day. There's anyways, we have to help them. We have to help everybody.
But again, even those drug addicts, it's a systematic approach in the inner city to get people hooked on those kind of things.
Oh, I agree.
It's not just their decisions. I mean, now
yeah.
I'm not letting them off of their decision. All I'm saying is that there's other things that contribute to that entire picture of keeping us enslaved, and that's just one piece of the big picture of slavery.
100%, and that's kind of where I was going with it as well. It's not. We need to stop just. I don't know. I don't know the right word. We just need to stop shooing people away. Lack of a better words, I had a brain fart. But I mean, we're just dismissing people so easily. And just like with the Democratic Republican situation, I go on both sides, man. I love going and seeing where people's heads are, and the majority, at least within social media and everything, all Republicans must die. We need to send them over here. And then on the Republican, I'm like, don't you stupid asses know that both sides are Americans? I mean, at the end of the day, California means a whole lot to me. It means the same amount to me as Kansas, as Tennessee, as Oregon. Oh, well, that's what they get. No, it's not what they get. Because if it's happening here, it's going to happen there sooner or later, because they were already able to experiment over here, and they've seen this huge population. Not that most people agree with it, because most people I know in California don't agree with their laws.
Yep,
but
that's me.
Right. But nobody knows what to do is the problem, and they're stuck in idle because they're trying to pay their bills. They're trying to put food on the table. The same thing that our ancestors did to put us in this situation. They wasn't. I don't know. It just. Oh, I'm missing out on the chat. What was the question up there, Zach? Sorry, man. All right, here we go. As far as prepping goes, are you wanting to ask the questions, or are you just reading it here and you want us to read it? All right. As far as prepping goes, what outcome are you hoping people can understand moving forward? All right.
I just wish that people
1 second,
would.
Nadia. 1 second, Nadia.
Pardon me.
You're good.
As far as prepping goes, I want people to understand that there's no limit on you getting started on preparing for the future. I understand that it may be a little intimidating because there's so much knowledge out there when it comes to preparing, but if we can begin somewhere that can help us actually get started, then that's what makes it worth it. Actually, to be honest with you, before I started growing my own potatoes around May 2022, I didn't really prepare for much, except for reloading shells, which I think I'll do a video on that hopefully this coming year, but I was new to preparing 2 years ago, and honestly, I'm thankful that I got started. Growing your own food, and preparing for any scenario is really important, and I believe that it's more healthier and more beneficial on our physical beings knowing that we were able to provide for ourselves instead of living on a system that is trying to tear us down as human beings. That's what I hope people take away from actually
Doesn't it just make you feel
being
so
able to prepare for the future, yourself and your family. It's not about preparing out of fear, but about being able to have a future where we can actually succeed without being able to be dependent on someone else who doesn't know you personally. I feel that's why we are in a predicament where we are divided on so many levels that it's not even funny.
Excuse me one moment.
We are too invested in looks, skin color, how we get subscribers or followers, etc., to where we aren't living our lives to help ourselves and others around us actually gain for the impact we have on the future. That's what I truly hope people understand moving forward.
well said, dude. It just gives me such a great feeling right here, man, to have a man like yourself speaking like this and talking to people and trying to get people prepared. I mean, because if any of us can be like, F it all, I'm going to have everybody else take care of me, it would be Zach. I mean, let's be honest here, right? Just with the physical problems and all the other stuff, life dealt him a effed up hand. He could easily, and he could get away with it too. Like we would understand, like, oh man, I get it. Here, let me help you.
I bet he's good with a shotgun though. He
right,
has to be.
right. But he's one of those type of men that we need in every household. I'm gonna try to limit my language, Zach. Sorry, but he's the type of man that we need in every household. And thank you, Zach. Appreciate you. I really do. As far as prepping, again, ladies first. I mean,
I just wish people think that they have forever. People think that, like, for example, like my mother, right? Like I've been telling her for 2 years to start, buying canned food, basic things, and she just seems to not take it seriously. I told her, what are you doing to like diversify my stepfather's retirement, right? Which is all tied up in the stock market, and every time I hear that, they've gone to their financial planner, I'm like, okay, well, did you ask them any of these questions? And she's like, no. And it's so upsetting, it's really a bummer. And I just wish people, whatever, like Zach said, whatever you can do to get started, even if it's really small, even if it's buying like an extra 2 cans of food or whatever, every time you go to the grocery store, I mean, that's how you get started, and yeah, that's what I wish. I mean, because, the prices are just getting higher and higher, and with the war that's coming, I mean, who knows the price of fuel and what's going to happen with that, right? Which is going to, and like dramatically, like we might all be priced out of even being able to buy fuel for our car if Biden doesn't drill here, and then it'll be too late, right? And then everyone's going to be panicking, and yeah, so that's how I feel.
priced out or forced to move to a different currency.
Yeah, we'll be priced out potentially out of fuel, but without the price of everything will increase, right? And I mean, but we might not even have food. Like we're gonna see like empty shelves, I mean, all depending on what happens with this war that's coming, So
right.
I mean, yeah, so there might not even be food. It might be too expensive, but there might not be enough, so get what
Right.
you can now.
Yeah.
First
Yeah.
aid, medicines, right? All of that is so important, I mean, I don't know if they went through with it, but remember like a month or two ago, CVS, they were going to stop selling antihistamines like NyQuil and Dayquil and basic cough medicines because the FDA decided all of a sudden they don't work anymore. And so they're just going to stop making them. So yeah, I would just, whatever you can get, whatever might go out, or people won't be able to get it while you can.
Right. And with the price, even the stuff that might not even go out, but you need for your everyday life, whether it's Tag's chocolate milk. I'm sure he's got a nice little stack of it, right?
Oh, I love chocolate milk.
But you
Are
want to
you
stack it
Hershey's or
up.
Nesquik or Ovaltine?
Hershey's.
But you want to stack it up because you don't want to pay the extra dollar next month because they may just add an extra dollar. So it's not even the stuff that will be running out, which we all know stuff's running out pretty much everywhere. And it has been for a couple of years. And it's not as significant. Like, well, it's significant to most of us that are paying attention. But when I, talk to a few of my family members, they're like, yeah, it went up $1. And I'm like, you've been saying that every few months. You know what I mean? Like, aren't you seeing my point of view on the inflation? And no, because it's an automatic reaction. Well, Trump did worse, or this happened here. And it's like, dude, it doesn't matter who's doing what. You're still paying an extra $5, which is, if you calculate it, that's 20 minutes of your time at work that you just paid extra because of what's going on, just on one simple thing. You add that up to all the other things that you need, whether, water bill, heat bill, gas in your tank, all that is added up to us spending more time at work to pay for things that we really shouldn't have to be paying for.
I went to the grocery store last night and 2 paper towel rolls, Bounty paper towel rolls, were $9 for 2 paper towel rolls, Bounty brand, $9.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. I got the, the store brand, but still. Back in the days, 2 years ago, I used to buy Bounty. That's what I would always get, but can't do it anymore.
Tag, what do you think? Here, let me move this. Man,
Well, how much do you guys want me to rant right here? Because I could just go, I think the first thing that I would tell everybody, what they need to understand is that money's the land of make-believe. It doesn't exist and it's not real. And as soon as you wrap your head around that issue, and I can go into depth of why it's not real if we want to and all that stuff, but the fact of the matter is it's simply not real. What's coming in front of us is a long, slow burn. And what I mean by that is it's going to get increasingly more and more painful every single day. No matter how much wheat you put up, no matter how much things you stock on a shelf, what you really need to be filling is your brain. You need to be filling your brain with skills and with knowledge and with those kind of things, because when you go through the evolution of prepping, I started as a prepper in 1993. I didn't become a full-time homesteader until 5 years ago. And as many of you know, I live completely off grid today, but it was my natural progression, right? I went from prepping and then I come to the realization that I can only store so much. I needed skills. And that evolved to now I store all of my food on the hoof in the seed, or in, I store my energy in the sun and in a tree and, those kind of things. But focus on the fact that money is not real. And it's, guys, I'm telling you, it's not. And I'll give you just a quick, brief example to explain what I mean by that. So the average American today pays 59% of their income in taxes. And when I'm talking about this, what I'm talking about is personal property tax, income tax. I'm talking about the tax at the gas station. I'm talking about all the taxes you pay on average. It adds up to 59% today. So the 41% that you're allowed to keep, you go down to the local plumber, the local mechanic, whoever it is, and guess what happens? They get the same 59% treatment. So just do the math. How many transactions does it take before the federal government has 100% of the money back? And the answer is 3.5. So in 3.5 transactions, they have all the money back, and you believed it worked the entire time because you were allowed to have a television, or you were allowed to have these little creature comfort things. It's the land of make-believe. I would rather have my money. And for those of you who don't know me, I put my money where my mouth is. I cashed everything I had out of the market. I ran financial holding companies for 23 years, wore a suit and tie every single day. And I took it all out of the entire system so that I could bank on me. And I could fight the backside money equation instead of the front side money equation. So I'll quit ranting, but the short answer is understand that money is the land of make-believe.
I completely agree.
I think we lost.
Yeah,
Deb.
I've been investing in books, like
Oh,
old books, like like I have a 100-year-old electricity book, like for practical handy skills and things you might need when the internet's not working, like teach you how to do things.
mhm.
I still need one for gardening, but I'll get one.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a baby step issue. Nobody gets there, and I get this question on my channel all the time about, well, it must be nice. I have a 5,000 square foot off grid home and a big farm. But the fact of the matter is, when we came out here the very first day, we cleared brush. There was nothing here. And then pretty quick, there was another little thing. And then pretty quick, there was another little thing. And then you just continue to progress to, this year, we finally put in automatic waterers for all the animals. But you don't start there, right? I mean, it's a progression. And so just do the baby steps and don't forget to celebrate those baby steps that you make along the way, because it's all of those that count up that end up in the book that you're talking about, right?
Yep.
So it's to me, it's just a baby step issue. But yeah, it's crazy. I think it was interesting you mentioned the war that's coming. A lot of people don't see it. And I would argue that we're in sixth generation war right now. We've been in for some time, that's fought through the computer versus fought on the battlefield in a lot of ways. But I agree with you, Nadia, that we're headed for a big old poop sandwich.
Oh yeah. Yeah. With how many people they've let in here, it's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. God bless us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the good news though. And we were talking about, me and Ghetto were talking about this before the live just a little bบ, and Zach, we're talking about, there's a lot of information out there today that says we're winning. And we can focus on that just like we can focus on, the negative side of it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I was using an example. I read a poll that said that 59% of males thought the 2020 election was stolen, and 7% of females. Well, if you put those numbers together, that's 50% of the population that's starting to say, hey, what's up? This isn't right. And I'm not suggesting it was stolen or it wasn't. I don't care about politics, but because they're all Republicrats in my book. But I think there's hope also.
That's great. I'm so happy to be talking to you. That's wonderful.
Well, it's all about a mindset too, right? Like if we believe we can win, we're going to win. You know what I mean? I believe the war is beyond
mine.
It's beyond stopping at this point. I think there's a lot of people that just want to stop it all and have peace on earth. We got to go through the growing pains before, we got to go through the pangs of it all before we get any kind of salvation from any of it. And I don't think God just put us on the earth to suffer. You know what I mean? And again, it goes back to your mind state on what you're doing. And that's honestly why I started prepping. 2020 opened me up all the way. I mean, I've always stacked a little bit extra food just because, I grew up without it. And I know what hunger pains actually feel like. I can't just, talk about, oh yeah, that would suck. No, it sucks because you would do anything, especially, as a defenseless child. It's one of those things where it gets ingrained into your brain for the rest of your life. And I refuse to let my kids ever feel that way. My position is I refuse to let anybody's kid ever feel that way, right? On to the adults that aren't knowing no better. Just in my neighborhood, we're able, and they're all Democrats, y'all. Oh my God, believe that. But we all actually help each other. Whether it just be sugar or, whatever. We just had this, big old ice storm, and we still got about 3 inches of ice on the ground. There's a couple people that, I make sure that are all right. Luckily they are, but that's what we need. We need more community, regardless of political aspect, regardless of race, religion. I don't care if you believe in the tooth fairy and that's your God. I don't care. That's not my job to judge you. My job is to make sure, you're safe in all aspects of the word, right? You got food, water. We're so dismissive. Once again, we're so dismissive of, oh, well, that's not my problem. Yes, it's our problem, guys. It is our problem. It's my problem if the neighbor ain't got something to eat. It doesn't matter if their budget's this or they're a drug addict this or whatever. And when I say eat, it's not just food neither. It's knowledge of what's coming down the pipe. It's knowledge of, and it is a war that we have to fight. There is no hiding. There's no riding the fence. My personal belief is that it's a spiritual war. They found a way to get into our minds already That slow burn, it's been a slow burn for a very long time, guys. This isn't just a, oh my God, since 2020 and Trump and Obama. Oh my God. No. Oh, no, 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 no. They've been predicting things in movies since the 20s. I mean, since movies even started, they've been predicting things. Look at my girl Starduster. It told me about a movie. It's called Metropolitan. I think it's in German or something like that. It literally talks about everything we're going through right now. It's as crazy as it seems. The movie was made in, I think, 1932 or 23,
Really?
and it's a picture show, but it shows how pretty much 1984 type stuff. You know what I mean? Which I do believe that's exactly where we're going. That's the only way the devil's going to be able to try and take us over is through our minds. I mean, there'll be a lot of physical suffering, but I think it's through our minds, because that leads to our hearts, and that leads to, and here I go
Souls.
ranting. Y'all shut me up when I go ranting, please.
Well, hey, I think one thing you said, I think I want to just stress before we go on to this next question, which is, when is it time for us to get in the fight? I listen to a lot of people complaining and moaning and bitching about what's going on in the world, but how many people attend their county commissioner meetings and their school board meetings? How many people make noise? When everything happened to me, for those of you who know my story, when everything collapsed in on me because of the whole COVID thing, I got in the fight, and I don't shield what I say on YouTube. And I put out videos on why the education system is messed up and the food system and blah, 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 blah. But maybe it's time, instead of complaining and worrying, we put our money where our mouth is and we get out there and get in the fight. I mean, the longer we wait to get out there and get involved, the worse this is going to be for all of us.
Right. And the worst is going to be for our kids, man. I mean, what did our parents do, right? And it would be all of our parents. What did they do when the government did Operation Paperclip? If anybody doesn't know what Operation Paperclip is, we had about, what was it, 1,200, 1,400 Nazi
Well, when did that come out? When did that
it was after World War II.
Oh, I know what it is, but when did when did it become common knowledge to the public?
Right. Well, when the internet became, like, all these things come to knowledge once the internet came. Whether they let it out on purpose or not, I have no idea. But it, like you, what did you say, 6th generational warfare? I personally believe World War II hasn't even ended. So I mean, who cares
We
about
didn't
World
win
War
it.
II? Whether we wanted or didn't, we were able to move chess pieces to get particular people into our government. It's a worldwide objective, I believe, to get into the minds of every human being on the planet. That's why the technocracy, the things that they've been preparing for us. I mean, we're all made of electricity and all this other stuff, right? We have signals and electricity and all these things going to all these black mirrors that we're able to talk to each other. He's over there stuck in a blizzard. I'm over here stuck in an ice storm. You're over there laying on the beach of California. Zach's over there stuck in the ice storm. But we're able to talk to each other in real time. As fascinating and as cool as that is, there's a reason we're able to do that. Some people hail it as the greatest thing ever, blah, 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 blah. But if you look really deep and dark into it, what kind of signals are we receiving within us through the Wi-Fi, through the electricity, the fake. I ain't got the right words to say it, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying. But all of this progressed since World War II, right? All of this technology, everything was just shoved in our face, right? I mean, a simple cell phone is, what was it, like 1,000 times more powerful than what the computer that was on the space shuttle that went to the moon, right? I mean, if we even went to the moon, who the frick knows?
Who here believes we went to the moon?
You know what? That's exactly the problem, right? What you're talking about right there. I don't know what to believe.
There you go.
I know.
That's the control aspect of it, though, isn't it? That's why we were forced to open our eyes to a stolen thing in 2020, right?
Yeah. Nadia, December 7th, 2014.
What happened December 7th, 2004? Pearl Harbor?
No, that's when they released the top secret paperclip reports.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I just Googled it.
Yeah. I felt like I knew about it before then, but okay. They unclassified it.
Yeah,
Good.
it says published December 7th, 2014.
Wow. Yeah, they all went to the NASA, NSA, and the CIA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people that did a lot of damage.
Yeah. I think Zach's trying to get us to answer a different question.
Sorry, Zach.
I'm really trying to get into the fight, but I believe that God gave me this opportunity to have unique prepping to actually fight with knowledge.
Dude, you're in the fight more than you even give yourself credit to. I mean, you bring together so many people, man. You are a vessel for God. There's literally no other way to put it. You really do bring a lot of people together. But even if you only bring one person, the knowledge that you have, that's all you need. You know what I mean? Like literally just to help one person. Some of us, that's all they do is help one person, but that's so important because that one person can go teach another, can go teach 10 more, can go teach, 20, 30 more. You may have gotten some couch potato off the couch, like, man, if this guy could over here can some beans, grow some potatoes, and I'm over here shoving my face with McDonald's, man, I could do something. You know what I mean? You give people the motivation just with your channel and just with who you are, dude. So
I
give
think
yourself some more credit.
what we got to
Absolutely.
do is take what tools we have available to us, whatever those are, whatever tools God
Right.
gave us. We have to take those tools and get them in the fight, whatever that is.
Right. And I think you're doing a great job at it, Zach. I really do.
Mhm.
As far as prepping goes, what outcome are you hoping people can understand moving forward? Me personally, I just want people to realize that we're all preppers, right? I mean, if you buy more than one roll of toilet paper, you're a prepper. I mean, sorry to tell you if you don't like that word, but you're preparing to go boo boo in 3 days. Let's be honest, right? So just down to that point, all the way to it's not out of. I want people to do it not out of fear, but out of necessity. Right. That's what I want people to understand moving forward is you're not buying extra things because you're so scared that this is all going to happen. Because if you do that, you end up you get overwhelmed, you get exhausted, you don't learn anything from it. All you're learning is fear, right? Once you let the fear in, the fear is going to overpower most of your thought processes, most of everything. But if you're doing it because you're realizing that, there's an extra quarter added to my chocolate milk this month. There's an extra dollar added to my gas. There's an extra this, extra this. And in times of plenty, you know what I mean? And even in times of plenty, you want to put stuff back. You want to put stuff back. As far as prepping goes, what outcome are you hoping people can understand moving forward? That we're not all nuts. We're doing it out of necessity. We're doing it because regardless of what system is against us or what's going on in the world, we want to be self-sufficient, right? Because ultimately prepping leads to homesteading. That is my main goal. I mean, it can't lead anywhere else. You want to have your own stuff. That is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And if you can start now, like me and my family did a few years ago, you can get to the point where you gain so much knowledge and you get ready for that homesteading. It brings us back to our roots. So I'm hoping people understand that homesteading, self-sufficiency is that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that's what we all should be working towards, no matter how hard it is.
Yeah, I what I'd like to ask you guys, if that's okay, like, what was it? What made you decide to start thinking that, hey, I might need to prepare? I might need to. What was going on in your life where you looked around and you're like, I want to do things differently than I've ever done them before? And when did what was it that you realized that this was important and you needed to start working on this?
Let me answer first real quick because it might actually trip you guys out. The government gave me a bunch of free fucking money. Excuse my language, but look, growing up, I know that when the government's handing you a whole bunch of stuff, that means there's a shit storm coming. And again, excuse my language, Zach. But when 2020 and all that stuff happened, right? My kids, for being kicked out of school for the Rona and all that stuff, they ended up getting $1,700 on a little plastic card through the welfare EBT system. Now, the only reason they got it, we didn't get nothing. It was for them for missing school lunches because we're on well, we were on low income school food. You know what I mean? I forgot. My wife does all that. Anyways, so they automatically got this little card, and I'm over here like, oh shit, baby, it's going down. And then you go into the stores and you see all the nice, beautiful, colorful packages completely gone off the shelf. All the steaks and lobsters, which we don't eat anyways, but all gone off the shelf. And I'm like, and you hear the neighbors, yeah, man, we're having a cookout. I'm like, you guys realize that you guys are causing shortages on top of you're spending all this money on some bullshit that ain't gonna last. It's not gonna last. And you're speaking to people with a bunch of money and to a lot of lower income. It's not like I'm poor, don't get me wrong, I'm middle class, but hey, I mean, who doesn't want an extra $3,000 for groceries? I mean, come on now. Anyways, that's what really pushed me, dude. Sorry, dude. Nadia, my bad. I thought.
No, it's all right. You can call me dude. That's fine. No problem. I'll call you dude too.
That's what really pushed me when the government started saying we need to give out free money. We're giving out free food stamps. And I tell you guys what, the ghettos and the low income people, they're the ones that made out like bandits. They got so much free stuff while the middle class just got dumped on. But that right there is what scared the crap out of me. Sorry.
So it actually scared you at that time. It wasn't like, oh hey, like it wasn't like this is an opportunity, right? I got this extra money, might as well. Like, but it was out of, you could feel the anxiety, like something was going to be coming.
I could, and I did, and I'll even show you what I did. But yeah, it really. How the heck do I turn this stuff off? But yeah, go ahead, Tag. I'm gonna set my stuff up to show you what I did. But basically,
I'll go,
yeah.
Zach wants to say something.
Yeah. Man, why are you so slow, man? Hurry up. We ain't got all day. No.
Yeah, well, while he's typing that, you let me know and then I'll be quiet, Zach. Is that cool? I can talk while you're typing. That's okay. All right. Yeah. Same thing happened to me. I received the EBT, and what I did, that's when I started. I could feel it, and I was like, I better start buying stuff, and one thing that I'm really happy that I did was I bought seeds and some gardening tools. Now, have I planted a seed yet? No, I haven't. But I have the seeds just in case. But it's like, oh well, it takes time to get things growing, But
learn it now, bro. Learn it now. Just the knowledge of just dropping a seed and seeing how it works, what environment it works in. Oh, start it now. Start it yesterday.
Yeah,
drop them. Because I did the same thing, and my camera's being covered. But so up here, that's where that $3,000 went. Well, for the most part.
Wow.
Here, hold on. And this isn't a whatever braggy thing. It's not. It's really not. It's more or less this stuff right here. Let's say this one right here. That's about $50 right now, y'all. I spent $13 on it. Dehydrate or freeze dried everything from eggs to hamburger, and it makes some really good tacos too, guys. To butter, And this is just a little portion of it, and then it's flour. I promise, it's flour. Government, whoever's watching.
Powdered sugar.
But this is our. I mean, this is our rotating pantry, right? So you want to always prep, but you want to use the stuff that you're prepping. You don't want to just buy a bunch of stuff and then throw it. The top layer, that's that long term stuff. When I was like, yeah, they are mouse proof. They're in tin cans. They're completely sealed up. These ones right here, the ones that are just in the bag. I mean, yeah, we ain't got no mice, but this is actually in a walk-in closet in my house. But again, it's not about bragging. It's not about nothing. It's more or less to kind of show people that a person from my particular background, right? Most people most people, I wouldn't say most people, but a lot of people in society would look at me and be like, yeah, you ain't prepared for nothing. You're da 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 da. It's important for me to show them that it doesn't matter what your background is. We all suffer because we're all humans. And if you don't figure it out sooner than later, your ass gonna be suffering too. I mean, I don't know. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Nadia, if I did.
Oh no, you didn't. Not at all.
Okay. Because so the long term is the freeze dried stuff, right? Like right now, we don't have any of our garden left. What I did after, you know, like you asked, what scared you into all this stuff? What I did was I jumped on YouTube and I started looking up channels
Same
for
here.
information. For information. Unfortunately, I got sucked into the wrong channels at first, but I was able to learn stuff though as well. You know, I was able to learn canning and other stuff through these communities, so I'm forever thankful. Anyways, but it goes back to what Tag said: is information is like the number one thing that we need to figure out. We need to have. We need to learn. It's not about having the most this, having the most that, because
Right.
at the end of the day, a room full of freeze dried food is not at all as important as growing the seeds that you have. And by the way, EBT, we found out when we got it, you can buy vegetable plants, you can buy seeds, you can buy all that good stuff to, you know, get further. We also did that. We got some Augustin farms, and we actually planted them. I think 2 years ago, and made sure we knew their cycles and all that. Zach, you ready yet, man? Go ahead, brother.
Actually, Nadia, I just got started with prepping in May 2022. I started with growing potatoes. I was excited to try growing something myself. And then the end of July 2022, Ghetto came to me with this idea of actually reviewing prepping items so companies could look at me and say, hey, he could actually help us advertise to a new diverse group. I loved
That's a
the
good way to
idea,
do things.
and it just grew from there.
How blessed are you? Because that's a perfect opportunity to get samples and, like, you know, it's good for you, it's good for them, and it's good for the community of other people who struggle, you know. Yeah,
Right.
that's great.
He
Fantastic.
motivates a lot of us, but you know, the motivation that the motivation that he gives people that, you know, are going through his disabilities and stuff like that is just enormous.
It's so awesome. I
It
can't.
is really cool. What do you think, Tag? Enough kissing Zach's ass. What do you think, Tag?
Yeah, well, I think we
You
all have
started
our,
in '93, right?
yeah, a long time ago. I think we all have our own disabilities. If you ask my wife, I have plenty of them.
Me too.
You know, just saying. There's so much there to unpack. I mean, I think going back to something you said earlier about prepping, the fact of the matter is every human being's a prepper. And it's just a fact. And you can't. Why do you have a 401k plan? Well, because people are preparing for retirement. Why do you buy car insurance? Well, because people don't want to. You know, you're preparing for an accident. Why? You're just talking about the spectrum of preparedness. And some people, you know, with rose-colored glasses, drinking Kool-Aid, only prepare for that fictional, American way of life that they sell you on the news, and they just miss the other side. But the fact of the matter, I think everybody's a prepper. I just wanted to say that before I answer his question. If the question that he was asking earlier about, I think that what we have to understand, as far as prepping go, what outcomes are you hoping people can understand moving forward, is that the biggest threat to us today isn't Russia, and it isn't China, and it isn't any of those. It's the government itself. It's the people that we live with. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the national debt just crossed $34 trillion. Everybody aware of that, right? And if I asked you who owns most of that debt, who purchased most of that debt, most people, China is a great answer. I've heard Japan, but did you know the fact of the matter is a little over 20% of the debt is purchased by foreign countries? Only 20%. The vast majority of it is purchased by the Federal Reserve, hedge funds, or private investors. So when people say, hey, China owns us, it's just simply not true. They just don't have the facts. At the end of the day,
they own it. I mean, the Fed prints the money, right? But then
they also buy it.
Yeah. So they make it and then they buy it back.
That's right.
Yeah.
As a way to gobble up assets. So the fact of the matter, overseas countries really don't own that much of our debt. We, the people, are who own it. But the reason I say this is that at the end of the day, I think what we have to understand is that the grip is going to continue to get tighter and tighter and tighter until we as a people stand up and say no. And for those of you who don't know, no is a complete sentence, and it can be exercised in a whole different bunch of places, as we go along our life. And I have challenged my county. I have challenged my county commissioners. And you know what? When I stand up to them, they kind of back down.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of don't want the fight. We have to have the courage to stand up and do those things, or they're going to continue to grip tighter and tighter and tighter. And every day that goes by, the problem, for us ultimately gets worse. Then the final point I want to make is, you don't have to have 10 acres of land to be a homesteader. You don't have to have 5 acres. You don't have to have 2 acres. In fact, I would tell you all of us could be a freesteader, right? Every single one of us can go out there and do that, no matter what size of property you have, no matter how you're doing it. Just put one foot in front of the other. Just get something going. Get off the couch, quit complaining, and do something about it.
Amen, brother. I'm doing it on about a half acre right now, garden and all that stuff. Amen.
Yep, bent over. Sorry.
No, it's a good one. It was definitely a good one.
Real quick, I wanted to answer her question too, just because she asked and I didn't get a chance. Real quick, let me just go through it real quick. So what got me into it? So I grew up, have kind of a troubled childhood. I knew what hungry was when I was young. And so I always kind of gravitated towards this a little bit, even coming up through, middle school and into high school and that. And then I joined the United States Army and I served overseas. And this is why I count 1993 as when I really got started, because after some involuntary trips overseas, coming home, I got to witness things that really kind of said, hey, this world's fragile. And so it actually started funny. I used to collect the condiments, so the salt, the things like that, out of my MREs when I was in the Army. And that's what I started. This whole thing started just something so simple as that, and began to grow. And then when 2020 came and I lost my career over COVID, and my 23-year career went down the drain. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to be a slave to the system no more. I'm just done with it. And so then I took that next step, which to me was homesteading. And then ultimately what I'm trying to live now, which is freesteading.
Oh, what's freesteading? What does that mean?
Well, to me, what it means is I think the progression of prepping goes like this. So I think someone says, hey, I'm a little concerned, or for whatever reason, they start buying a few extra things, whether that's a couple toothbrushes, whatever it is, they start putting it away. And then you kind of progress into, okay, I'm starting to put this stuff away. I need to learn some skills. So they start reading books about gardening and et cetera, et cetera. So, but eventually what happens to a prepper, in my opinion, is they progress into a homesteader. Now, when I say homesteader, I want to be very, very careful. That does not mean 40 acres and a mule. What that means is we've got a little garden going. Maybe we're collecting rainwater in our backyard, right? You get that next level of progression. But I think there comes a point in that where the next progression beyond that is, how do I exit the system? How do I not fight the system? How do I ignore the system? How do I create my own systems? Today, I live with no electric bill, no water bill, no sewer bill. I don't have any debt. I don't, I just live my life, do my own thing. And so I think it's a natural progression. And so my goal is to be the ultimate freesteader. How do I get to that ultimate level of freedom where nobody can take anything from me? And I'm not there yet. It's, like I said, it's a progression. It's something I got to continue to work on. But so that's what a freesteader is to me.
Got it. Wow, that's great. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it wasn't called it was called Metropolis. I think it was somebody had asked. Starla had a question for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back up to it.
Security.
and about security. And I mean, there was a point in my security wise, it's all about being the gray man, right? You don't want to say nothing. I didn't even want to get on camera because I'm like, man, I got a whole lot to say about the government and this and that, and I'm stacking away. I don't want to show anybody. I don't want to talk about it. I mean, because we're kind of snitching on ourselves, right? Then it's got to the point where it's a few years later, and I'm able to show, some tin cans full of freeze-dried food. But that's only because I'm more comfortable in my security. So Starla Dope, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
My question for all of you is: besides prepping, security is important. Besides ammo and guns, what are you doing about security? Honestly, the security isn't. I can't tell you what I'm doing because then it wouldn't be security no more for me. I mean, to be honest, I'm not trying to be an ass, but there's particular things. But I could throw a few ideas out. Like, let's say you have cameras around your property. People think, oh, I'm so safe with these cameras. Not if it's on the internet, because
Right.
even a dumbass like myself can look right into those cameras as long as it's on the internet. The most important thing with those cameras is you need a private closed network, not on the internet. Only you are able to see it. Somebody's not going to be able to just come up to you and hit you with a quick hack. It's a lot harder to get to look into those things. More importantly, it's not to tell everybody, "Hey, I got all this." You know what I mean? Don't.
Something that oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say is, I think what's most important, just like we need to fill our minds with the knowledge, right, of how to do certain things. I think it also comes to security, right? That means like training, in some sort of like martial arts, like some jujitsu or something, and making sure your physical body is as fit as possible. Now, I'll be frank with you guys. I had these thoughts a couple of years ago, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start working out and lifting weights. I'm going to get strong. That way, if I need to like go somewhere and carry my kids, I can carry them on my back and do it if I had to. Right. But have I done it? No, not to the extent to which I had, but I know how important it is. And I would say, as far as security goes, you're your own security. So learn the skills, how you can defend yourself. If it were to be a one-on-one scenario, I think that would be really helpful for everyone. I have both of my sons are in jiu-jitsu, and even though I'm not training in jiu-jitsu, I have them because I think it's super important for people to know how to fight so they can defend themselves. So that's what I wanted to add.
That's good. That's a good answer. And I think you could, once you get outside of your personal need, right, there's all kinds of things you can do. And guys, I'm going to tell you the number one biggest thing that all of us can do for security is to yoke up with like-minded people and have community.
Amen.
Because at the end of the day, I can make one phone call right now at, 9:02 p.m. my time. I bet you I can have 30 people at my house in 15 minutes or less. Wow. And so I think that is where security is. And there's a lot of things you can do. My house has cameras, my house has motion sensors and driveways and all kinds of stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the single biggest thing we can do is community. We had my neighbor started my property on fire last year, and it burned, 3-foot tall flames up underneath my fuel tanks and stuff. So it was significant. And we made a phone call, and, we put the fire out, and no harm, no foul. And we never called the fire department because I ignore them. I don't need them. I can take care of it for myself. One thing real quick, Ghetto, I wanted to ask you about real quick. You said that talking about things and I'm kind of serious and kind of just poking on you, but you said that being on YouTube, talking about these things is kind of snitching on yourself. Would that then imply that you recognize their authority?
Yeah, it does.
Because I don't.
It's more or less when you're snitching on. I think we all have those inner thoughts, right?
It's just a risk.
Right, those felonious thoughts. Like I think anybody that's watching this has some thoughts about what to do with the system, what to do about all of this, and it could put them in prison for the rest of their lives. And those are just thoughts. And me personally, I don't have much of a filter. You kind of get what you get with me, right? I try my hardest to, but I mean, it's just the way it is. So, yeah, at times I do feel like I'm snitching when I'm saying, grab the pitchforks and the guillotines, Um, but I also like to, but who would you do it to anyways? And I know it's a different part of the question, but everybody's like, oh, after system, we need to take this to, where are you going to take it to? Who are you going to go after that can stop what is going on? There's not one person. The only salvation we have is what that individual right there below me is doing, his community, and there's thousands of more communities out in the world that are doing it. There's third world countries that do it and they don't even know that they're doing it. It's just a way of life there, to where the community comes in. They don't call the cops. They don't call anybody. Something happens. You got 30 people there to protect whatever situation is going on. That's what we need. That's where we started, guys. I mean, think about it. When this country was first made, we didn't have all these emergency response whatevers. We didn't have all this extra stuff. We had our neighbors. You know what I mean? You broke a wagon wheel or something like that, guaranteed there was going to be guys there with their kids helping you lift your your trailer up to put on your new wheel or whatever. I mean, that's our origins, and I think in every country that's always been our origin.
Well, I mean, I think if you're getting on YouTube and you're talking about grabbing a pitchfork and charging the hill to take on an Apache helicopter, there's something wrong with you anyway.
Agreed.
Right. But the fact of the matter is, guys, we don't have to fight them. All we have to do is ignore them, create our own systems, our own economies, our own schooling, our own everything. We don't have to. There's nothing that I'm saying there is illegal, against the law, none of that kind of stuff. They're not important to me. I don't have to pay attention to them. I'm just going to do my own.
Sovereign.
That's right. And through that process, I think we can win, and we never have to pick up the pitchfork.
Right, because we give them the authority, right? We give them the authority.
Tag, what are your thoughts on the authorities raiding the Amish farms and giving them a real hard time about them ignoring and trying to be out of the system, but they're still getting hassled? What do you do then?
I think that the Amish people should get together, all of them. They should pool their resources and they should stand up and tell them no. And this might sound like a thing like, oh, whatever, but I'm going to tell you a story. I know a guy named Mark Baker who runs the Anyone Can Farm experience. And Mark ran a farm in Michigan, and he was selling raw milk. And the federal government came in and said, you can't sell raw milk. And this guy spent 20 years in the military, declarated veteran. And he said, yes, I can. What do you mean I can't sell raw milk? And so instead of just hiding, and instead of just complying, and instead of just laying down, he risked his fame and his fortune and his resources, and he took a fight to the FDA over raw milk. Once the fight was on and it was headed to court, the FDA backed down. And did you know, right now to this day, Mark Baker sends an email to them every second or third week that said, did you know Mark Baker still sells raw milk? And they don't mess with him. You know why? Because he stood up to him. And he said, no. And I'm willing to risk my resources. I'm willing to put everything on the line because I didn't break a law. All I'm doing is milking my cows.
Yep.
So the Amish community needs to band together, all of them. Dude, they got resources. I got Amish communities all around down here, and there's money there. And take a fight to them. Look, guys, this is the thing, is that how long are we going to sit behind the sidelines and just say, oh, okay, the grip gets tighter and tighter and tighter. Instead, walk into that school board and say no. No.
Exactly.
My security is being able to be as agile as I can be. People who have cerebral palsy don't really have a long lifespan because unfortunately they don't really move around much. But I'm trying my best to keep my life sustainable so I can keep fighting and loving people who comes in my life.
Right. Well, I think that's on us as well, too, Zach. I think individuals like you or my baby sister or something like that, they're going to, and us as preppers and people that are doing all of this, we need to realize that we are your guys' security, right? Because, I mean, there's really nothing you can do. You can prep it to the rafters, but it's going to be so easy to just take it from you.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be easy to just, and I'm not trying to, demean you in any way. It's just the reality of it. Right.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
get what you're saying is true for all of us. It'd be
He's
easy.
like,
100%, 100%. Yeah, right. But I think we forget that too, though. You know what I mean? Like we get in this mind state to where it's like, oh, we're the biggest, baddest. We're going to do this. If you're weak, you're weak. Oh, he's in a wheelchair. We're not even messing with him. We're just going to, no, I'm going to grab his ass and put him up on my back and take him. And it's not that because what he has to offer or anything like that. It's because what are we fighting for if we're not going to protect the people that can't protect themselves? What is
Yep.
the point of even surviving or existing in an Armageddon type SHTF world if all we're doing is me, I'm taking. I mean,
Community
yeah,
matters so much, Ghetto. Community is the key to all of this. Community
everything.
is the catalyst that allows us to build parallel societies, parallel economies, parallel education systems. I mean, community is the key factor in
Yep.
fixing all of this.
that's the number one thing, most important, I would say, is that definitely. And so for myself, I feel, in Los Angeles, everything is spread out. It's not like your mom lives up the street. Like everyone, the whole city is very spread out. My kid's school is 8 miles away. My mom, like, nobody that I know, like from my family, lives around me. And so when I get to thinking about these things and how important community is, I'm close to, not close with, but I know my neighbors and I've had chats with them. But the way we're raised up here in the city, it's like people just didn't talk to each other. I mean, I go out of my way, like when I moved here a few years ago, to go and introduce myself to the neighbors, introduce my kids to them, and to start conversations to build up that repertoire with them. So they would have my back if something were going down, and I could call them, and we got exchange phone numbers and whatnot. But if I were to still think about, like, okay, if something went down and I have to depend on these guys, like, I don't know. I don't know how much better off. It might be a worse off situation, so it's just kind of disheartening, and it's a hard thing to think about because I feel like there's not much you can do about it. But because I know how important community is, and it is the most important thing.
Yeah, Nadia, there are so many people out there. The problem is most preppers hide behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
you don't, you got to find places to get them. But I promise you, there are hundreds of thousands right around you.
I've tried looking up for like groups or something like in my area, and it seems to be kind of hard to find.
Did you go on? Did you get into the freesteading.com and stuff like that? Remember when I gave it to you a while back?
You gave it to me?
Yeah. It was
No, I don't
after
remember.
it was after our live. Anyways, I'll give you the information again.
Please.
There's also the American Contingency with what's his name, Mike Glover. He's got a huge, and they actually just put him on the freaking terrorist list because of the American Contingency. But basically, it's similar to what Tag and Grumpy Acres and all them do. It's basically having a platform where you can bring people from the same cities together on how
Yes.
they can help each other. It's all about, and they have an app for it. It's an amazing community.
You've triggered my memory. Thank you. It's been a long time since we've spoken. Yes.
And you do pretty good in the back conversations as well. They're actually probably having it right now, huh? Tag. They do a Zoom meeting every Thursday, and it's just a bunch of people that come and just have conversations. Oh,
there's other ones too. You can go to freedomcells.org, and there's freedom cells all over the country. Freesteading is a good one, but I mean, there's Facebook groups. Google California or Los Angeles self-sufficiency group into Facebook and see what comes up, because I'll guarantee you there's a ton of them, or homesteading, or whatever it is, but they're absolutely out there. The other thing is there's festivals all over the country, so make sure when you're going to these self-reliance and self-sustainable and these type of festivals, I can't tell you how many people I've met who now live in my community here, all because I went to some festival in Tennessee, or I went to, I spoke at I think 12 events last year, and I met every single one of them. I met somebody I'm buddies with now. Everyone.
What state do you live in?
Kansas.
Okay. And Ghetto, you're in Colorado, right?
No, I'm in Oregon.
Okay. You're in Colorado. I know Zach's in
Colorado. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. Where in Colorado are you from, Zach? I grew up in Castle Rock. But anyway, Nadia, don't give up hope. I'm telling you, there are a ton of them out there. The problem is they just hide behind the scenes, and so you got to kind of put yourself
Right.
out there a little bit, go to a couple festivals, ask some questions, you know, do those things pretty quick. You know, now, you know, it's funny how it progresses. I bet you I get 2 emails a week about someone saying, tell me how to build community, or tell me how we want to do what
Right.
you're doing, but we want to do it in, you know, Oregon or, you know, whatever it is. I mean, I get them all the time now, but in the beginning, I never got any and thought nobody existed.
Right. Well, it's funny because when I first got on, Ghetto was like, well, Nadia, when are you going to start posting some videos? And I was like, well, I'm kind of like nervous. Like, I'm just, sticking my toe in, like putting my face on camera, and even getting comfortable with like being on camera at all, period. So like I'm there, but I want to find a community, and it's really important to me that I meet people like yourself, and, it's really important. So, that's why even though it's a risk, right? I'm putting myself out there because of how important it is, and maybe, I can provide something for you as well,
Isn't it crazy how we feel like it's a risk to go? And that, to me, that's just such an insane topic. And I agree with you 100%. It's a total risk. But I think it's crazy that we feel that it's a risk, that we want to reach out to other people who want to grow tomatoes.
Well, I feel like because my children are small, so I feel like that vulnerable because
vulnerable. Yeah. I do. Right. I did the same thing, Nadia. I did too. And to this day, my kids aren't allowed on camera, but they're in the background sometimes. Go ahead, Zach.
I'm close to the four corners.
Okay. Yep. I'm right where you're at. Yeah, I grew up in Castle Rock, and I was stationed in the Army in Fort Carson for a couple years.
Very cool.
Many moons ago, before I had any gray hair.
I have a lot of gray hair too.
Yeah.
I love my gray hair. That's why I shave it off.
You earned it.
Hey, that's what I tell Miss Ghetto, but then she gives me that look. Like, I don't have any gray hair.
Can the moderators put Nadia's YouTube channel in the comments? Because I don't know if they're on your comments, but on my comments, I have some of my subscribers asking how do they.
Yeah, it's
so someone put a link to.
So if the mod looks into the description of the video, it's all of our links are in there, so they can just go to it from there.
Hey.
Yes, and if anyone wants to message me directly, I'm also on Discord at the same name.
Okay.
Cool.
So hey,
thank you so much.
Everybody on my channel, listen. You guys go over to this young lady's channel and you subscribe to her channel and give her encouragement and hope, and tell her to go out there and kick the world's ass.
That would be so cool.
Tell them Tag sent you.
Thank you, Tag. Thank you so much. freedomcells.com.
I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Just intertwining the communities, because the algorithm has us so freaking segregated, dude. It is amazing how I didn't even know there's an entire Black prepping community. There's an entire Black 2A community. Yeah. Guess what? There's an Asian one too. There's a predominantly white one. I mean, there's other certain races in there mingled, but the majority of it is this. My point is the algorithm set it up like that. We're tribal people. It's the way it goes sometimes, you know what I mean? But
is that just more about location, or is it exclusive?
No, I don't think. I think the algorithm is specifically aimed to keep us in our boxes.
Yeah.
To honestly keep us in our boxes by race, by religion, by all of it. And then when it's time to fight and bicker and whatever, they open the boxes up a little bit more so we can come in and fight each other. And it's just like the prison system.
Hey, Ghetto, this might be a very ignorant statement, and you can say that's dumb if you want me to, but I'm going to tell you guys something. I live in Kansas. I live in red country. Okay, I do. It is conservative. It's 90% white here. The rest of it be made up of 7 or 8% Latino, and then probably Black, right? That'd be the makeup. But did you guys know that even though I live in this, I don't know a single racist? I just don't. And the fact of the matter is they make it all of this big thing when I'm telling you guys, I know so many rednecks. I mean, my whole where I live is full of rednecks, and I don't know a racist one in there. Yeah. I don't know why they. Right. I just don't.
Well, that's why I like to switch it over to it's not racism, prejudice, it's tribal. Just because there's a whole bunch of people over here, that doesn't mean they're against another group. It's because more and more people are comfortable with people that looks like them, right? That's until Ghetto came in and threw a wrench in the program. I'm comfortable with everybody. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, I agree, and I definitely don't want to throw that topic out there. On racist and all that, but it's
Why not?
knowing the enemy.
Great topic.
No, it is a great topic, just not for this show. Is my point. But it shows how deep the system goes to keep us divided. And to me, I mean, you can ignore it, but the fact that it's there, and maybe it's more important to me, Tag, or well, it would be to you, Nadia. It may be more important to me because I got a 12-year-old that's on this system, that's being programmed to be in this box over here, or in this, you know what I mean? Just like we were when we were kids, we were being programmed to stay in our certain. We all shouldn't be troubled because we're all humans, right?
Yeah.
But knowing what the system is doing, and that being YouTube or any other situation, we just being aware of it is extremely important. It's as important as becoming a freesteader, homesteader, becoming all this.
Hey, Ghetto.
I think something that is really important to take away from what you said is that, sometimes, and especially in emergency situations, the people who will have your back might not be the people you expect. They might surprise you, and sometimes when you're in an emergency situation, the people who you think are going to react well, and the people you think you'd want on your team are not, they don't react well in an emergency. And then the people who you thought would be on the floor crying, they pull through and they get it done, so
I've been in many of those situations.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's always important to remember, because I surprised myself one time, and I did something that was pretty crazy, and my friend did the opposite, and you just never know how people are going to react in an emergency situation. And like I said, the person, who you're tribal with, who, you may be more familiar with for one reason or another, that person might turn on you, and it might be a stranger or somebody you don't know who would help you. So yeah, that's really important.
Yeah. Hey, Ghetto, I wanted to tell you a real quick story if I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a little 8-year-old person in my life who I love with everything I have in me. And she's a little girl. And recently I hired a couple people to come work at the farm because I learned they were out of work and were having a hard time eating. And they didn't speak any English. So they only spoke Spanish. And so I agreed to hire them. And so they come out to my farm. And so I download an app so I can communicate with them onto my phone. Anyway, so they come in, we have meet and greet. I give them a task. They go to do their task. And this little 8-year-old creature comes up to me and says, "Can I download a Spanish app so I can learn how to talk to them?" The reason I bring this story up is because racism is taught.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, she didn't see them as any different than any other people. She was just trying to figure out, how can I get them to talk to me because I like to talk.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think it's important to recognize that racism is institutional. It's not people.
100%. 100%. I definitely agree, and I can even kind of add on to it, if you don't mind, that I don't believe it's just taught, but I believe it's programmed. And that was kind of my point in what I was saying, is that just like our parents were programmed, you know what I mean? And then they ultimately taught us or whatever, my generation, I'm 42 or whatever. We got a little bit luckier because that's when we were all kind of growing up together. You're what, 80, 90 years old, Tag? So your generation, it was all bad. But my point is I think it's been programmed from the top.
Yes.
Because ultimately the system that we're talking about, that we're preparing to not just fight against, but be free from, has been a system that's been in place and that has used race against each one of us. They've used religion against each one of us. So I think knowing what their weapons are against us will help us fight a lot better of a fight. It'll make us stronger by knowing what they're using. What's up, Zach?
Not slam the door. Sorry, guys.
This is where Zach says he has a black friend.
And
So he's
honestly,
not
I'm trying
racist.
to break the cycle of the disability people as well, because I can't tell you how many times I get dirty looks or get turned down for jobs because of my outer physical appearance. I'm trying really hard to change it.
I can't imagine anyone giving you dirty looks for any reason. I just don't understand people.
Yeah, Zach, and I wouldn't change anything, bud. You are unique, and that's what makes you special, bud. Just like all of us, right?
Yep.
You are exactly the way your maker intended you to be, and he did it for a specific
right.
reason. And you know, don't change nothing.
Right. See, I'm not unique. I'm just confused.
Yeah. Maybe that's your uniqueness.
Yeah, right.
See, unique, confused, hopeless. What are you, Tag? I'm just kidding.
At the end of the day, I see it as a blessing, Zach. I see it all as a blessing. No matter what, we got to the point where we realize something's going on and we need to prepare for it, you know, to kind of circle back to all the prepping and stuff. So all of us, regardless of our story, we're right here, right? We're
Right
on,
now.
you know, however it happened to where we're all talking. Tag's talking to a kid from the ghetto. I'm talking to a man that used to deal with $1 million portfolios, and I can't even begin to speak about it because I don't know nothing about all that.
Mm-hmm.
To, you know, talking to a young lady from down in California, talking to a man up here in Colorado, to the 100 people that are in chat. We're all together for one reason, and that is to not just do awareness, but show people how we're doing it. You know, like, how do you, like, you may take your rice, like, right? Like, if you're going to stack up your rice, you got to freeze it. You got to do this. I may just take it from one bag and vacuum seal it in another bag and throw it on the shelf. Why? Because I'm going to probably eat it next month. I'm not putting it away for 20 years down the road. I'm not going to waste the time and energy to be able to do this to 100 pounds of rice. I'm going to end up eating it. I'm not just scared and, you know, put it away. But anyways, you teach me something, I teach you something type of thing is my point. And that's ultimately what Zach did by this panel, by this conversation. He wants to teach people and connect people. You know, Nadia, you might be able to connect through Tag. I got a couple other people that are trying to connect through Tag to get into the community, the community that this man has built. And I'm kissing your ass a little bit, Tag, but the community that he has built, but rightfully so. It's, what is it, 1,200? What's the size of your community, Tag?
Which community? I mean, that's the interesting question, right? Because
the community that lives where you're at.
So within 100 miles, there's about 1,200 of us.
Right. And you're talking about 1,200 people that want and actively pursue a barter system, actively pursue self-sufficiency in electricity, water, food. So that is huge.
Yeah,
just imagine.
And Ghetto, some more than other, but I want to make sure, I don't want to take credit here into something you said. Our community works because it's full of leaders. I'm just
right.
one guy. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, them, they make it run. I get a lot of credit for it because I'm the face of it, and I travel all over the country giving speeches and recruiting people to come live in Kansas. But the fact of the matter is, there's a whole lot of smart people behind the scenes.
Right.
I just don't want to take credit away from them because it ain't me and it's not my community. It's us.
And
that's fantastic. What a blessing.
Yeah, and that's the most important part of it, is when everybody is us, everybody's a leader. Yeah. But I mean, if Grumpy was up here and it wasn't you up here, but it was, I'd be telling him the same thing. Yeah. I admire you guys for what you do, and how you're doing it, because to me that should be the ultimate goal of any prepper, of any person. Yeah. I mean, you want to be self-sufficient. That is the only weapon that they are scared of, right? First and foremost, God, you seek God.
If we take away their leverage, they can't rule us.
Exactly.
It's really simple math.
Exactly.
I think that what they're probably even more afraid of is people connecting with each other. That's what they don't want, right? And then next would be them being us, you know, people being able to be sufficient on themselves. But the thing is once people connect, right? And like what I could say is about this panel tonight, and if anything I've added to this conversation is just the fact that how 4 different people from 4 different states across the country who have never met each other, who are able to come together and connect, right? Even though, you know, one might be nervous being on the camera, and, you know, it's just all so different. And for people who are watching, who are just watchers, they're just voyeurs, and they're afraid to make those connections, right? They just want to be in the comments because it is like kind of, you know, intimidating to put yourself out there, right? That it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it. And that's just what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to make connections with people. You know, my tagline is making friends for the end of the world. Like on all my pages, like that's like what my tagline is, you know, and that's just what my goal is. So thank you.
So Zach, I think Zach wanted to say something. What you got, bud?
No, honestly, Ghetto, you're special and your name is Ed.
I was in special ed.
This is from a previous topic.
They all are.
The best ones are.
Right.
God don't make no junk.
Yeah, I think something Nadia said that I think we need to all really stress to everybody is, you know, if you're listening to this message, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. The problem is you get fear and you get programming, you get all of these things. But guys, I'm telling you, there is no reason you can't do it. You absolutely can. You just got to put one foot in front of the other, and, you know, analyze your life, understand where they rule you, and work to remove those chains and do it just one baby step at a time, one link at a time. You can absolutely do it. And what'll happen is you'll wake up in 4 or 5 years and go, whoa, that was a trip. You absolutely will. But what you got to do is you got to put that one foot right in front of the other, and then that next foot right in front of the other. And don't listen to the critic, because there's a million of them and everybody will tell you you can't do it. But I'm telling you, you can absolutely. If I can do it, a guy who wore a suit and tie for 23 years, you know, I drove a Hummer, my wife drove a BMW right up until the time they tried to put the hammer down, and I did it. And so, today we were out chopping ice for the cows. I mean, so very different life.
Yeah.
Right? If I can do it, I'm telling you, every one of you out there can do it. Just put one foot in front of the other.
Amen. I can only add to, if I could do it, you could do it. Look, man, I'm canning right now. I'm excited because I have amendments in my garden right now, even though it's 5 degrees outside and there's snow on top of it, which I like because it's helping my amendments. But I got amendments in my garden right now. I'm doubling the square footage of my garden this next year. That's a particular thing that I'm excited about now. It's a completely different world once you start learning all the information, and then, but most importantly, putting that information into play, right? I can I can garden. I can't milk a cow. I can't do other stuff, but one day maybe I will. It's interesting to me. But ultimately, what I'm doing from a city standpoint, right? Not just poor, ghetto, whatever, is from a city standpoint, because I'm in the suburbs now. I can just call myself suburban, whatever. But what's important is I'm teaching myself that, and I'm trying to teach other people that it doesn't matter where you're coming from or what you're doing, you're able to do it. The nervousness and the fear and all that, I do believe is program. It's so wild that we would even be nervous to want to do something like that when it was literally an everyday life, like an everyday part of life for most of our older generations. Like it wasn't even, you know, we take it for granted. I think it's time, and that's another reason why I'm against, you know, both presidencies, both this, both that, is because none of them change the amount of chemicals that are allowed in our food. None of them change the amount of chemicals that are allowed in our water, that are being sprayed in our air. None of them changed any of the most important parts of my family's life. And if the amount of fluoride or whatever that's allowed into your water system, if that's not important to you and you're not fighting against that,
well, may I just add on to that? You know, here in LA, the county has just approved a new program. Would you like to know the name of it? It's called Toilet to Tap. Done in 3 easy steps. I'm not joking.
I'm sorry for laughing.
I'm not joking. No, I know it is funny. I mean, and it's horrifying. It's real. 3 easy steps. Yeah. First they sift it. Okay. Then they add all the chemicals to it, and then they ultraviolet laser it or whatever. And they're sending that to as our drinking water now. Unbelievable.
After they sold all your water to other states.
Like our government hates us, and it's just like, it's so overwhelming. It's just so insulting, and it's just it just feels like the infrastructure is put into place, and it feels like it's too big of a Goliath to.
Right.
And I know that's not true, right? But I'm just saying, like, it feels that way, you know. And I feel bad even that my kids have to brush their teeth with that for a second. Like I'm using like filtered water for everything. I can't drink, you know. It just sucks. It really sucks. So God bless you, Tech, for having your own water and having all of that worked out. I hope to be there where you're at one day. That's really amazing.
Yeah, but Nadia, I want you to know something. You know, I didn't know anything about solar till I did. And I didn't know anything. If you'd have told me when this all started that I'd have 3 water systems, a pond, rainwater, and well water, and I'd use all 3 of them in my house at any time I wanted to and independently of each other, I'd tell you no way. I didn't know anything about it. The fact of the matter is I just got up and said, I'm going to go to work today. And I blew pumps. I wasted money I didn't have to spend. I mean, I made all kinds of mistakes. But at the end of the day, I was determined that I wasn't going to be a slave to the toilet to faucet system, that I was going to figure it out. And again, I wasted money and I made some mistakes. I've frozen things, I've, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm telling you, it's just a matter of being committed to what you're doing and committed to, hey, I'm taking control of my life back, and I'm going to take it back one tiny piece at a time, at whatever mouthfuls I can swallow. But I'm taking it back, and I'm committed to the process, and that's all it is. And once you make that decision, and once you go down that road, it gets easier and easier and easier every single day. I promise.
First step is awareness, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
What up, Zach?
And Nadia, to bounce off your previous topic, I'm very blessed to make these connections because in my real life, there isn't much for me, so I get so much gratitude and appreciation for you guys.
Thank you, Zach.
Zach, we're super happy to be here, bud. When you asked me to come on, I was super eager to do it. I'll come on anytime. Try to give me a week's notice. You know?
Man, you better cash at me my money for showing up on here, man. I ain't that excited. I'm kind of tired of you.
Paying for endorsements? No, seriously, thank you guys so much. I gotta get these kids dinner, but I really hope to talk with you soon and connect again. Thank you so much, Ghetto, Zach, Tag. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Hope to see you again very soon. Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
Is there anything else? Any? I don't know if you guys are closing it up, but I know I have to go.
No, I was gonna ask Zach if did you have any more questions, Zach? And or was there you do have more questions? Okay. But if you gotta go, Nadia, it's cool. I mean,
thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, for the next one, I will be more prepared and I'll have dinner already ready, so that way I don't have to and I'll have my sister babysit so she can serve them.
Family first.
All right, Jim. Well, hey, everyone who's watching, thank you so much. My name's Nadia. My page is Nadia Knows, and please connect with me because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm looking for friends for the end of the world, so find me. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Exit.
There's one of those questions in there. There's one of those questions in there, Zach, of what do we think is coming down the line? Because if it's not, I want to sort of. All right, well, go ahead and shoot the next question, man. Yeah, it's also, if anybody wants to link up with any of us, she doesn't have anything on YouTube, but her same name is in Discord. But all our links to all our channels, I urge everybody to, talk to all of us. That's the whole reason why we're multi-streaming. And if you're on my channel, please look up Zach's or hit the link that's in the pinned one and come over here. I'm not worried about the viewing and all that.
Yep.
And if you definitely know me, you obviously know Zach. He's like the dumb to my dumber. Second Scrooge.
When I go out there, I've subscribed to people's channels that's come up in the chat tonight.
Yeah.
Guys, we're one community.
Right.
somebody out there, go help them out. Go, let's keep pushing. I mean, I'm a subscriber to every channel that I've seen on here. And if I'm not, if you just let me know you have a channel, I will be by as soon as I see it.
Right. And that's what, because we all learn from each other. It's really not about making money and getting this and doing that. And it's about learning from each other. And because there's so many different walks of life, right, on the planet. And within the chat, within, 100 people, there's obviously we're not all going to agree, but we're all here because we agree on one thing. You know what I mean? And it's not just the big bad boogeyman government. The big bad thing is going to happen over here. F that part. How do we prepare for next week? How do we prepare, for the $150 we spend in gas every month? What can we, just the preparation of all of it, of protecting ourselves. And that's where we come together at. That's really what all people should come together at.
Mhm.
What do you see? I mean, there's that 2030 reset. There's this, there's that. There's so many conspiracies, so many things that we're watching come true, so many things. What do you see down the road, Tag? And just in your mind and in your knowledge of everything that's going on, do you see from spiritual to government to single government to worldwide? What do you see, man?
Well, I mean, I think they're going to try to push the one world government. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's the ultimate level of control. So I think they're going to attempt to push it, but I think that they vastly underestimate people. And Mike Tyson said, every plan works till you get punched in the mouth. Well, that works both ways. But I think what we're going to continue to see is, more and more grip. And what I mean by that is they're going to tighten down on everything they can tighten down. This is why it's so critical to break the chains now. Break them now as fast as you can break them. Because again, it's going to get hard. Energy, in my opinion, is going to become a commodity like it's never been before. And I would expect to see energy prices to skyrocket. I would expect to see, and when I say energy, I'm not talking about electricity. Electricity is, represents a very small portion of energy. I mean, there's a lot of different kinds of energy, right? I mean, energy comes out of diesel fuel. It comes out of gasoline. There's a lot of it there. So I would just expect the grip to continue to tighten, and it's going to get harder and harder to break out. I mean, look at the price of homes today or land today. It'd been much easier to buy land or much cheaper to buy land 5 years ago than it would been today. Yeah. And 5 years from now, you're going to look back at now and go, man, that was such a bargain. Right. And so I think the more dent we can make today, I kind of think the better. I think we're headed smack dab into World War III, and not because Russia's a bad guy, although they probably are, not because of all of those things, but the only way they can cover all of the corruption and all of the bullshit that's been going on over these whole bunch of years is they got to take us to war so that they can shield it all. And I'm talking about everything from the Epstein files to the 30,000 deleted emails to on and on and on and on and on. So I think we're headed economically towards a Great Depression, or at the best, probably. There's no way we can be $34 trillion in debt and expect to ever be able to pay that back. I mean, at the end of the day, the amount of money it's taking us just to service our debt now exceeds what we spend annually on defense, which, by the way, is 5 times more than any other country does, right? So I mean, I think it's this incredible shit sandwich. And I mean, I just don't see a great way out of it, except what we can do is build community, which I think is number one. That's why I wore the yoke up shirt tonight, right? We can build community, and that's where it starts right there. Then from there, we can start building our own systems, our own barter systems, our own things, and become less and less dependent on them. If we could make it where they truly were irrelevant, it wouldn't matter. They only have power because we consent to it.
Right. Exactly. I think we need to realize that we're the bad guy. I think we're so freaking egotistical that we do not realize, and I'm not saying we the people, I'm talking about our government, all that billions and trillions of dollars they got on defense. If we start actually realizing that it's not even defense, it's on offense, because we're the ones that are over there bombing. We're the ones that are over there putting ourselves in all these situations, all these wars. I honestly don't think Russia's the bad guy. Guess what? I don't think China's the bad guy neither. I think every last one of our countries on this planet is the bad guy, and it's the governments and the people that are behind them that are the bad guys. And there's we the people, and then there's us, right? And I believe the root of it is a spiritual conflict between good and evil. The devil's had this planet for 1,000 years, 2,000 years, however long. He's got this much time to do what he wants until God comes back and gets us, Revelations, etc. I'm genuinely excited about Revelations. I'm excited to, to finally be at home with my father. However, it's all going to work. But I do also believe that he wants me, myself, to be able to prepare, to be self-sufficient, to be able to have my own food, because there's going to be hard times, just like, what was it, Joseph? He was in control of the 7 years of famine and the 7 years of abundance. To me, I feel like, and it might be a shocker to a lot of people, I think we're still in the last year of that 7 years of abundance, right? I'm still able to go to, and I don't because coffee is nasty, but I can still go to Starbucks and grab me a mocha, whatever. I can still go to the store and get me chocolate milk. I can still, to me, right now is more than likely the last year of abundance, or that's already been up in 2023. And I think the next 7 years, the next 1 year, however long it lasts, is going to be the lean years, to where if we didn't stock our silos up, we're going to be starving. There's so many times in history that will show us that we're going to get screwed in the end if we allow them to. That's the most important thing, is if we allow them. And that's what prepping for me and my family does. It's like a currency, right? It's like me saving money in the bank. When I got given all that, pandemic EBT or whatever, I'm pretty sure half the audience that was listening was like, oh, they're a freeloading, blah. You could call it what you want. I'm taking something that was given to me and I put it towards my kids' future, as in food, as in seeds, as in whatever. I didn't ask for it. It's not that I went out and pursued help from the government, but I wasn't going to say no to it. Just like I think it was stupid for people to deny getting their stimulus check. Why not? It's ours. They just printed it out anyways. And take it, go buy some, pay off something, and go about your business. But I do believe the war, the situation of the world is only going to get worse, and I don't think that's just being programmed to us. I think we can all feel it. We can feel something. Like even the most leftist person I know that's in my family or whoever, they know something's going on, and it's got nothing to do with just our country. It's something, just the earth. Look at the earth, man. What was it? Iceland just a few days ago, they came out and said the 800-year lava flow just reached the top of it. It's been dormant for over 800 years. We just had the record amount of heat, the hottest year throughout our history. Mankind, well, since they started keeping records, was last year. It was 115 degrees here in the Pacific Northwest just last year during summer. That's 15 degrees over our hottest days. Anyways, I'm just saying there's so many different things to look at. But I also believe that's part of their weapon, is they want us to pay attention over here, over here, over here, over here, over here. And they amplify the stuff up, right? Just like all the Trump and Biden and Democrat and Republican, they're throwing it out there just as fast as they can because they want us to fight. So, but if we're focused on prepping, if we're focused on preparing for next week, preparing for next winter, we're not concerned about all this other stuff or who's the bad guy or who's the whatever. Just at the end of the day, exactly, Barb CERN, there's so many different weapons that are aimed at us, and so many different enemies that they're gaining control out of the chaos, out of all of these headlines. Most of us don't even read the stories anymore. We just see a headline, and then all of a sudden we're talking to our neighbor the next day. Well, I seen what happened about this and this and this because I seen the headline. You know what I mean? We're not even researching, because that's how much information we're getting. We don't even have time to cycle through the information. It all could be fake. We could all be in a matrix. Every one of these things is fake. Who knows? Who cares? At the end of the day, be prepared. Make sure you and your family are prepared. So you can have a sustainable life, even if SHTF happens, even if revelations happen, tribulations happen. It doesn't matter what we firmly believe in. We need to firmly believe that we all need to eat tomorrow. We all would like to have some, water to drink. Is it possible as a society to set aside our differences and actually help set up a future for our generations to come where they can grow and prep without the things we have to deal with? I personally believe that time's gone and past. And this is unfortunately where my black pill really kicks in. I think us as a society on so many different levels are too complacent to even realize that we're divided. Like they think because they have a Ukrainian flag on their thing, that means they're one with all humanity. And they got all these symbols and all these things that they're doing, these little things that really don't mean anything, but it makes them feel better about themselves. They left 6 cents from their online bill to the St. Jude's Children's Fund, so they did their part. There's so many people that are completely complacent and don't even realize that we're divided. That I do not think that we can come together. I think it's important that we teach our children, just like the story of that little 8-year-old, right? That's where we do it from. And I do believe our parents, by actions, not words, but I do believe our parents, tried to help do that just by where we were raised, the friends we had, the communities they let us play in when we were younger, stuff like that. But I think more importantly right now, Zach, I think it would take longer than what we have left to be able to create a situation like that, because it's going to take my kids, his kids, their kids, to actually form that society. We're too complacent, man. We're too comfortable. We're too comfortable with our chocolate milk.
I love my chocolate. Zach, I think the answer is that it is possible, but not probable. And what I mean by it is possible, can people come together and put their differences aside? Well, of course, I see it every single day on a very small scale, right? My community is a great example of that. I'm telling you guys, I disagree with every single person in my community one time or another, and they disagree with me one time or another, right? It's fine. So is it possible? I would say it's absolutely possible, but it's just not probable because unfortunately, by the time the soccer moms and the NASCAR dads wake up, right, I don't know what's going to be left for them. And so I think we get to look forward to the great rebuild and the greater reset, right? They talk about the great reset. We can talk about the greater reset as, John Bush and Derek Bros and them guys talk about, that it's absolutely possible as we rebuild. But I think it starts in our local little communities, and I think we can absolutely get there. But I think I do agree with Ghetto that we're going to have to go through a whole bunch of tribulation first. Oh, that's cool. Let me see. It's more like a domestication and Stockholm syndrome on a massive scale. Yeah. I'm not excited about what's around the corner, but I'm excited about what's behind that.
Yeah, we may not be excited, but as long as we don't show the fear, right? I mean, because that's their fuel, is if we're scared, because then we're more complacent, then we're not preparing for anything. And it's not just, one entity that we should all be looking at it. I mean, ultimately, I do believe it is, evil. It's plain and simple evil.
Well, maybe the real answer to the question is define society, right? He asks, is it possible as society? So as a society, does that mean the United States? Does that mean the world? Or are you just talking about my town right here?
Right, exactly.
Because
we don't even know we're all part of, I mean, when I say globally, when I'm talking about people uniting, people are like, what the fuck I care about other countries? No, we're in the United States. If we fall, everybody falls and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, there's countries right now that have fallen. We're not doing nothing about it, but helping them fall even further. We're not, and our thoughts aren't even with it. Just like the current stuff that's going on over in Yemen, right? Like everybody's all like, yeah, that's what they get. But they're not realizing that we've been doing what we're doing to them right now. We've been doing it for over 10 years. 3 presidents have been starving and bombing these individuals. Okay. This isn't new. This isn't anything new. And when, but it's the new thing that they're pushing on the news, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're paying attention. We forgot about what was going on last presidency, the presidency before that. And this isn't particularly aimed at Trump or Biden or whatever. Remember, last three presidents, Obama, Trump, and Biden, they all let millions, and you can look up the numbers, look up the actual stories from when it started. We're doing it for Saudi Arabia, right? Millions of people have starved, have been bombed, have been, and now I'm going on my tangent on it, and forgive me, Zach. But all I'm saying is that's why it's so important for us to have discernment when it comes to headlines and news stories. And oh, well, look what Biden's doing. Look what Biden's doing. No. And again, this isn't against Trump, but look what Biden's doing. See, Trump had no wars. He didn't have no wars because they weren't talking about it. They were doing it behind the scenes. Guess who knew that Trump was killing them? The Yemen people. And guess what? That does matter to me because God created them too. He didn't make them different than me. They all have arms and legs and can talk, and they need food and they need water. I mean, we're all human beings.
Yeah, I think that was said super well. And I think it's hard to get out of that cycle because they teach us, to, and I have to admit, Ghetto, I struggle with this point a little bit sometimes when it comes into property rights and, all of those kind of things. But I think what you said is exactly right, that God did make everybody, not just Americans.
Right. I think we were born, whether we inherited it or whatever, but we were born with a huge ego, man. I mean, like it's just that's what they deserve. And we will never see our government as the bad guy if we just think we're the biggest, baddest guy on the block. I think we are slaves to China. I think we are, but in a different sense than other people like, oh, we owe them money, right? If you look at half the devices in your house right now, look where it says it's made at. That to me right there says that they have their brand on us because they can put whatever they want into your household, right? Or so how is it that Temu is probably one of the biggest companies out there right now, right? How the hell is China our worst enemy right now if Temu is one of the biggest companies? That to me, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, China needs us.
Exactly. As much as we need them. We all, the way they created the system is all these countries need each other. You know what I mean? Once that doesn't happen anymore, then yeah, I can see us going to war. But most of these wars that are made, they're fabricated. Where it's a fucking lie for me to want to hate Yemen people or these people. Or man, I grew up not liking Russians, dude, and I didn't even know why. But it was I mean, sincerely, I had some Russian friends too. It was like, well, I don't even know what the hell my little. But it's because it was programmed into the generation right before me, right? Japanese people, from Pearl Harbor. Then all of a sudden, within a decade, everything was made in Japan. I mean, everything is they're all controlled burns. Is my point. And I agree, Tom. I definitely agree. I feel like that's a certain type of invasion into our country. That's a different tangent, but I personally believe that's a different type of invasion. But again, I'm not scared of China. I truly believe that George Orwell was 100% spot on. Alan Watts, all these other guys that talked to Paul Harvey. I believe they're all 100% right, and I believe we're going into a system that they will try to control everything down to our thoughts. As crazy as that seems. But guess what? Back in the 90s, we all thought, Total Recall was a cool ass movie. Oh, that'd be cool if we had video this and digital that, and we can take these mental breaks. Guess what? We got virtual reality now, guys. We're able to talk to each other, in midair because I'm on a wireless device. Most of us are. Like, I mean, science fiction is here, and they knew it was coming. So what else do they know is coming?
Yeah. Yeah, Tom says, Tom says you had better be scared of China. Well, China's big and they've got a lot of army. I mean, they got a lot of military and they've got a lot of those things and they got a lot of cybersecurity, abilities and they've got, a lot of those kinds of things. But it is a fact that they are just as dependent on us as we are on them.
Right.
They have an aging population. Their one-child policy from 40 years ago is coming to roost and they're really suffering right now. And, they've got the biggest inverted population triangle of pretty much any, modern country out there. So it's not like they're not, full of their own problems as well.
Right. But I think they're being pushed. 1 second, Zach. They're being pushed to hate us as much as we're being pushed to hate them, right? I mean, their government's doing the same thing to them that ours is doing, and there's, whether you want to call it the families, the whatever, they're at the top sitting there laughing because they're the ones pulling the strings. So in a physical sense, I'm not scared of them, but I'm aware of them, Tom. I'm aware of China, and I'm aware of what they can do. I'm definitely aware of them. I'm not going to be scared of no man or country or anything, but I am aware of them and what they can do. But in the bigger picture sense of it, what we should be scared from China is the technology that they have implemented onto their citizens. That is the fear. That is where the whole globe is heading towards.
Yeah, you're talking about ESG.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Zach. Sorry, man.
I truly believe that we will get there one day, but we have to go through tribulations to get there. We just need to help our children get to a better life. I understand that it will take years and years to get there, but I feel like God will create a path to get there. It's time that we need.
Amen, brother.
Yep. Well, and they said that if there shall be trouble, let it be in my time, so my children know peace.
Right. Then we know peace, and we screw it all up and give them all the freaking power back, and then it kind of recycles. I think there's a particular word for it, but it's just the cycle of life where strong men build all that good stuff.
Again, if you've never researched it, go look up the Tytler cycle, Tytler, and it's kind of the expanded version of that that takes a society through liberty and freedom all the way through bondage and tyranny. And Tytler was a scientist guy, basically. He did a bunch of studies a long time ago about societies and how they collapse, but that was referred to as the Tytler cycle.
Right. And only to add to this, and this is a sleeping giant that mostly people miss, is that's why India and China will never cut each other off, because India is actually the one that produces most of the raw materials for the meds and a lot of stuff that is floated out in the world. They have a lot of the I forgot the percentage of it, but it's more than any other country. But they produce the raw materials for it.
Yeah, but this is why it's also interconnected, because China needs us, because if we quit buying, they've got as I mentioned, an inverted population triangle, right? And so they need this constant flow. And,
right.
But all of them's true. If China cut India off, India would be screwed.
Right. Oh yeah, we all dude, we're all working together. I mean, if you see the world as a corporation, right? And then you see all our military uniforms they're all the same, aren't they? I mean, just different colors. To me, what's that?
I said, yeah, just different colors.
Right. If we weren't working together, why would we all have the same uniforms? Why would we all have the same business suits? Why would we all be wearing suits and ties, and that's the formal wear? And it's just, there's so many things on a bigger level that connect us, that shows us that they're all working together, that to me, it's kind of hard not to see that they're all working together.
There was I don't remember who made the comment. I think it was SC Wolverine, but I don't make sure I quote that right. But anyway, there was a comment a long time ago up there. I want to see if I can find it. I wonder if I can scroll up. Hold on, because I'm going to totally misquote him. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of comments, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is great. I love people coming out and talking.
Oh yeah, super cool. I'm trying to get up here and see if I can find it. Anyway,
The digital currency.
no. It was right on your lines of what you were talking about, but I just don't see it. Anyway, I was going to quote him because it was a really smart comment. But dude, you had a smart comment, but I don't remember where it's at, so never mind.
Are you talking about Southeast Wolverines?
Yes, I think it was, but again, there's a lot of yeah, no, it was a long time ago. I don't know why. I don't know why I remember it, but I do. Anyway, I don't remember. What's the next question? What else we got?
Yeah. What's your next question, Zach? Go ahead, Tag.
What do you predict would happen if all of us as a nation actually came together? Would that unite the rest of the world? I think it would absolutely unite the rest of the world, because even though our favor to the world has been declining, America's been seen for many years as, the last best great hope for mankind, as Ronald Reagan once said, right? So I think it absolutely would. I think you'd also see a lot of, certain occupations like politicians and attorneys and things like that go away pretty quick. But I think the world would absolutely rally behind it, because I think the world, even though it's waning, still looks to America to be that.
I mean, this is coming from a person that's only been to Mexico. I know there's a lot of, you yourself probably have been to other countries and their societies. I don't think the rest of the world gives a rat's ass about us anymore. And again, I believe it was by design. I believe I won't go into all of it, but that's why our morality and everything else that we've been doing in our country is pushed so far. And that's all these people have been seeing for the last 10, 20, 30 years or whatever. I think most countries don't want us to succeed, and if we did, they would probably think it was a lie. So I don't even think they would. I don't think it would bring the world together. Unfortunately, I think that comes along with our ego. I think we think that we're the shining hope and we're the whatever. I think other countries are doing just fine. Actually, I think a lot of countries would be doing a whole lot better if we were completely annihilated in their eyes. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have to. I mean, look at, Vietnam or South Korea or whatever. Yeah, we went over there. We did this. You know what they got? They got Coca-Cola. They got McDonald's. They got Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean, we go over to so many places and we just inject these corporations that are,
Yeah, but I think, Ghetto, I think that there's a separation there. And I think what you're talking about is we go over there and we inject our military complex into a lot of places, and in our politics into a lot of places. And I don't think that's what's so, I don't think that's what's looked upon as favoritism. I think if you look, at least my experiences of traveling the world, and you look at it, they think that we're still the Wild West over here. And we've got, all this freedom and movie stars. And we've got, it's the whole country is loaded full of nothing but Disneyland, so their perception of what goes on over here, I think, is different. And I think what you're talking about is we insert our politics. Now, I would tell you the rest of the world probably don't think the American government is the last best hope for mankind. But I think if the American people rallied together, the wild, wild west, the Disneyland, would absolutely be a symbol of hope to the rest of the world.
Right. I definitely see what you mean. I definitely do. I think exactly, she is sunshine. And again, a lot of people in a lot of other countries, they yearn for the type of stuff that we're doing because they don't get any of it.
Right.
But again, that doesn't.
I mean, there are many places in the world, Ghetto, we'd be shot for our conversation tonight.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I definitely agree. Yeah. I definitely do agree. So I mean, on those aspects, I do believe so. But that's why it's so important. It's the American idea that gives hope to the rest of the world. And 100%.
Well said, Tom.
Yeah, 100%, Tom. And I do agree to all of that. But man, I'm just in awe in so many other countries because they're living self-sufficiently out of straight necessity, right? So if you can couple that with our freedom of speech, with our, with our constitutional rights and stuff like that, that's right. That right there is what would make my country great again, right? So if we can, unfortunately, they have to be self-sufficient because their governments are pieces of shit. They don't let them talk. They don't let them. I mean, I got a few friends from where is it, South Africa, that can't even speak about guns. It's literally, or speak bad about their government or how bad it is over there, because they have a law that if you talk on the internet bad about your country, your ass is going to jail. So I get it. And even behind the scenes, my buddy's like, hey, I can't talk about it, man. I'm like, all right, I respect that. But yeah, he's got his own little farm. He's milking his own cows. He's doing, he's being self. I'm like, man, if you could put that with this, that's why. Well, I don't know who you were talking to, Tom. I think our tax dollars are as much as a myth as the fact that we think money is real. The amount of taxes, the amount that our government spends compared to the amount of taxes that we give them. I mean, isn't the amount that they spend like a couple trillion more than what we're even able to give them?
Yeah,
so,
depending on the year, but yeah, but ultimately what that is just debt to the American people.
Right.
What they're doing is they're going to the American people and they're taking out a loan, a mortgage over the next 30 years so that they can go and give it to, Israel or Ukraine or, whatever it is under the name of the American people.
Right.
Yeah. And Tom's partially right. I don't say partially. There's a lot right in this, and that the tax dollar is financing the rest of the world. I mean, look at the contributions into NATO. Right? I mean, so there's some absolute truth into that, but it's just a Ponzi scheme. And at some point in time, that Ponzi scheme crumbles. It just absolutely does. Hey, by the way, I wanted to say hello. Grid Down's in here. That's a buddy of mine, and super good guy. But I've never seen Grid Down in here before, so that was pretty cool.
Nice. Go ahead, Zach.
By the way, anyone looking for a solar system?
I do believe that if we united, the rest of the world would rise up and fight for their freedoms and country. They look up to us, they want us to rise up and take our rights back. That's why we need to prep and build a better future.
Amen, brother. Amen. And I truly hope that that is something that happens. Yeah, agreed, Tom. Agreed. I think the real money part is, our time and our energy. That's the real part about it.
Yeah, it's not money, and that's the one thing I would change with what Tom said there, is that it will all be paid back with our energy. Money is nothing more than an exchange of energy. That's all it is. Yeah. And so it will be real energy when it's paid back. That I agree with. Could not agree more.
Right. See, on a grand scheme of things, right? When I was talking about China earlier, I believe the technocracy over there, the technical or the technology that is controlling the whole entire society. I mean, you can't even spit on the sidewalk because the camera will see it. The algorithm will automatically report it. They need that on a worldwide scale, and I believe because it goes back on to. Me being under the belief that, the devil has ran this planet. I believe he's taken every single country and kind of put them all together, put a system here. And I've spoke about this before, but they put, socialism over here, communism over here, freedom over here. And they figure, and he's figured out which ones work, because at the end of the day, we all have free will, right? Mm-hmm. The devil's working his ass off to manipulate every last one of them. He's been doing it for thousands of years. He found China's system as the one that works, right? So now it has to spread, is my point. And I think that is the whole reason. That is a reason why, if we do all come together, like Sia Sunshine said, overall we are a very young country, labeled us the wild child, and if they could tame us, then they feel that they can rule unchallenged. I just had a brain for it, y'all. My bad.
Yeah, man, happens to the best of us, man.
What's that?
I said happens to the best of us.
Man, I was going somewhere with it. I mean, ultimately, I love the question, Zach, and I love the optimism of it. And I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I just think it's hard for us to get to that point when there is. I mean, we're just so divided on a micro level. It's not even. I mean, the division.
We allow it.
That's what. Exactly.
We're making a conscious decision.
We don't even know, but we are making a conscious decision. But at the same time, there's a lot of unconscious decisions that we're making as well.
No, there's a lot of unconscious influence. But at the end of the day, we still make the decision whether to walk by the bum on the street and kick him or walk by and lift him up and give him a hand up. We're still making the conscious decision. We choose whether or not to play that game or not. We choose it.
Right. Agreed. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. And I think living where I live, right, in a predominantly Democratic area, most Republicans would be absolutely amazed at how much these guys over here are thinking just like these guys over here. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I really don't believe in the red and blue side, because both sides literally have something to offer. So if we were able to show that to people, right, that it's because that's the ultimate fight, right, in our country, the ultra left against the ultra right. Those are the ones that are battling it out. So the left and the right down here, we're automatically put into this box over here with the right. And the left over here is automatically can't say most, but a lot of people automatically assume if you're a Democrat, then automatically you think gender, you think all this other stuff, you're allowing this to happen, blah, blah, blah. So automatically you're my enemy without even talking to each other, right? What's that?
It's programming.
Exactly. It's programming. So the only way, excuse me, the only way for any of those questions to actually happen, Zach, is if we turn the programming off. And thank you, Tag, because that's exactly where I was heading with the reason why I brought up the right and left is we need to understand the programmer and the programming. Once we get rid of that, then yeah, we can come together. I don't believe that it should take a 9/11 type situation to bring us all together, right? Because that brought us all together in fear. And I don't think that's a good idea, because look at the laws that we allowed to pass because we were all united and together. We allowed some monstrous laws to be passed.
Mm-hmm. We've allowed the whole thing. I mean, it started, many, 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 many years ago. But the fact of the matter is the deep state sits behind the scenes, and the left wing of the building, they say, okay, you believe in this and that. And the right wing of the building, you believe in this and that. And they sit back behind the scene and count the $100 bill, laughing at us as dumbasses.
Right.
Complete scam. I mean, you talked about this is what a liberal believes, but who told you that that's what they believe?
Exactly, dude.
Because the fact of the matter is I would be a economic conservative and a social liberal, probably, in a lot of ways.
Right. But a lot of people don't even admit that. So kudos.
Yeah, but I think as long as you ain't hurting me and taking away my constitutional rights, live your life however you want to live your life. I don't give a shit.
Right. That's why labels are so important, right? That's why
they place the labels.
That's what I mean. Yeah. That's why it's important for them to place the labels of male, female, liberal, Republican. Oh, well, it gives us something to fight about. Black, white, whatever. I'm like, no, dude, you're an American. I'm an American. Fuck yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm excited.
John Galt, 2024.
Jongo? What?
John Galt, 2024. Write him in.
Who is that?
You don't know who John Galt is?
No, I don't.
Yeah, no, listen. Whether you watch it on a movie or you read the book, you've got to go read the book Atlas Shrugged or watch the movie Atlas Shrugged.
All right, Atlas Shrugged.
Okay, because it's John Galt. It's a story about basically the government puts on so many regulations and so much pressure that successful people begin to take their production out of the system, and they take it to a place called Galt's Gulch, and create their own basic system. It's a fabulous movie book by a lady named Erin Rand, who wrote the book many years ago. She was far ahead of her time. But anyway, there's a character in there named John Galton. So the joke is John Galton 2024, because his whole mission was to remove his production out of the system. But anyway,
text it to me later, man, so I remember, because I love movies and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Atlas Shrugged.
Atlas Shrugged. All right, Miss Ghetto, you got to remember that one. You got another question, Zach? We just went over 2 hours, brother, and we're losing people because the long streams, it gets people. All right. I seen your finger, man. I get it. That was the stern one. Like I told you, I know his sign language. So it's like, all right, just give me 1 second. Then you continue talking. He's like, he puts power behind it. That's like the nuclear finger. All right, brother. I'm not saying you got to end it. I'm just saying, is there any more questions? We don't want to miss anything. I mean, we're here regardless. We got nothing else to do. It's cold as hell outside. Ain't going outside. You got those windows plasticed up, Tag?
Oh heck yeah! That saves so much energy.
Dude, my windows are too. I was just kind of looking back. I'm like, wait a minute, yeah. We did a double-sided tape and then hair dryer, shrink that. Yeah, same here, man.
This is my office. We call it the crow's nest because it's the only room on the 3rd level, and I can oversee my entire property. So, like, one of my favorite hobbies in the spring and the summer is I can sit here and do my work, and at the same time watch my wife in her bikini garden.
Right.
Right. It's like my favorite hobby.
Right. That as well. That as well. She is sunshine. She's been with us the whole entire time. And go ahead, Zach.
Any last words, fellas?
You want me to go first?
Age before beauty.
I'm tagged from Life Done Free. You can find me at Life Done Free on YouTube. You can find me on Freesteading, the social media platform. On my YouTube channel, we do a live every Friday night at 7 p.m. So you guys are welcome to come over and we'll continue on our regularly scheduled unprogramming. But other than that, I just want to tell, Zach, Bud, thanks for having me. I appreciate the invitation. And, anytime you want me to come chit chat, just hit me up and we'll make it work. Ghetto, once again, thank you, as well for, sharing the evening with me. And if the young lady was still here, I'd thank her as well.
Right. Do we have something, and not to put you both on the spot, but do we have something for him on your channel in the future anytime, Tag? I think it would be a great guest.
Sure.
I mean, I know he's welcome or anything, but
always welcome. Yeah, we just got to figure out a time. But yeah, I would love to do that. And you know what, Zach, just reach out to me. We'll get something scheduled. Easy peasy.
All right.
I'd love to do it.
And pretty much everything he said, I'm about to say, because I'm ready to get out of here, man. I'm tired of being tired of hanging out with you. No,
yeah.
No, I appreciate everything you do, Zach, and it's amazing to me on how much you've evolved within this community. Never give yourself more credit, and I know you do, but internally give yourself more credit, because you are an important part of this engine that we call the prepping homestead community. You really are an important piece to it, dude, because it shows people, as does me, because it doesn't make sense, at least on a system stance, right? It doesn't make sense that all three of us are hanging out together having this particular conversation. That's like, it doesn't make sense. But it should make sense, is my point. Yeah. And I'm very thankful for you being able to bring us on your channel. Let us, stream to our own channels. Hopefully we'll, connect more and more people, and just show everybody, if we do come together, because as long as we're working on the goal to coming together, because I know that's why you asked that question, Zach, if we all American people, as long as we're working on coming together, then we're not separating each other. Yeah. So it's just extremely important to just, at least, even if we don't think it's going to happen, we're all going to come together and sing Kumbaya. As long as we're working towards it, where's the harm, But like you guys say, reach one, teach one. That's it.
Yep.
and you're ultimately doing that, Zach. So I appreciate you, and thank you for having me on here tonight, brother. And I'm glad where you're going with this channel, man. I really am. And your life, because ultimately that's your life, right? I mean, it's adding things to your arsenal when it comes to prepping and stuff like that. So that's ultimately what it's about, man. You got last words, sir? Like, yeah, get the hell out of here, Ghetto. I love you too, brother. Stack to the rafters or whatever, whatever slogan.
I think the whole thing's neat. And I think, you get 1,000 leaders in 1,000 communities, we can make a big dent.
Dude, huge dent. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Zach's got something to say here.
He's putting his stern finger to work. For my channel, anyways, while you're typing and getting ready to throw that out there, Zach, me and Miss Ghetto will be doing a water bathing live stream here soon. We were supposed to do it here in January, but she is Sunshine, Miss Sassy, my experience with Sassy. They'll both definitely be with me and Mrs. Ghetto. Hopefully, Mrs. B will be able to make it that night. But we did the canning part, the pressure canning. Now there's a few people that want to learn how to make jam and stuff like that. And if you haven't followed us, Mrs. Sunshine, she actually did her first canning session with us. Yoda and Grumpy and them were a part of that show. And she's been doing it ever since, guys. It's freaking amazing. And it's even cooler that I was a part of teaching her something. You know what I mean? Like that's what really gets me right there, Tag. Not just learning stuff, but being able to take that and give it to somebody else. That, you know what I mean? It's just it's a good feeling. It really is a good feeling.
But the community is millions of people, but it's small.
Right.
It's just funny how it works.
Yeah. Right.
I've made some great friends through this whole process.
Yeah, and because of making friends with you, Yoda and all them, and Grumpy and all them, and a few other, dude, I've trusted people even more. That's what I'm trying to get at. That's a hard thing to do, man. But knowing the right people and having some discernment on those right people, you can trust people.
You can. And if you put a wall up and don't trust anybody, you're the one that misses out on incredible intimate relationships.
Right there. We can't make it alone, guys, and that's pretty much what I'm getting to, and that'll be my last thought, Zach. Is I actually came into all of this thinking a lone wolf is the way it was going to go. Me and my family, fuck the rest. And then ultimately, I'm watching your community. I'm watching a few other communities I'm a part of. And it's like, dude, you can't make it alone.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but it's going to be a whole lot harder. I mean, make your journey a little bit easier and trust people. Straight up trust people. Just, you got to trust the right people.
Yep.
Go ahead, Zach. My bad, man. Thank you, Miss Sunshine. I appreciate it.
My last words are, no matter what you do, no matter what life throws at you, you matter to this world. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Remember this: whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. 2 Corinthians 9:6 NIV.
Perfect. That was a perfect verse to end it, brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Chat, everybody, whoever, stayed this long, I appreciate you guys. Go to the description, check out everybody's channel, start hooking up. God bless everybody.
Hold the line. See you guys.